test out this slide, shall we? Yeah! That is fun. But not as much fun as chasing trains from a boat in this episode of Drew's Trackside Adventures. Okay, so clearly my last flight into the Thompson River Canyon threw cold water on my plans for any more aerial escapades on our Canadian trek. But on this third and final leg, there'd be plenty more to see in British Columbia's interior region. Only this time, I'd wisely leave the high-flying act to Chaz, KJ, and Bessie. Their flight would follow the route of the Thompson River, and of course, CP and CN lines to division points at Kamloops, BC. They'd throw caution to the crosswinds and soar off to explore the trains, rail-served industries, and even some stunning hidden scenery found along the 60-mile run through the dry belt. Only minutes after takeoff, a westbound manifest arrived to help map out CN's shore-swapping route east of Ashcroft. And then, there's this port, of sorts.
So is this just car storage here, or?
More than just car storage, Ashcroft Terminal is the largest dry port in BC. This is where hoppers, tank cars, and other rolling stock can be easily transloaded or stored. Although CP holds firm to the south side of the Thompson, Bridge 3 is evidence that the CN route frequently inches just close enough to pester her older sister. An industry that serves the railroads? That's what the guys found when they flew over this tide treatment plant that receives raw materials off the CP main.
I think I can smell the creosote. Yeah, so for sure. It's always good that you go low enough to smell the creosote.
While spying for other sites along the Thompson, KJ called out one agricultural oddity that wasn't expected in such a dry climate.
Oh, this ginseng is what they grow into the black tarps. Oh, is that right? Yeah. I would not have guessed that in many years.
Then with a hard bank to the right, Chaz dropped in on the tail end of an eastbound stack train rolling to Kamloops.
I got a little bit ahead of him, didn't I? That's all right. I hope you can get him going back. Good show. You got him? Good show. Yep. You can hear the squeakage. Okay. I'm going to head sort of straight for Kamloops. Okay, no situation, so no problem.
My drive to Kamloops wasn't quite at the same clip as Chaz and KJ, but I'd be sure to take time to photograph and pace trains along the way. Even a stop at this Savannah Mill along Kamloops Lake was in order. Of course, I should have known that the Flyboys had it all covered from the air.
There's the lake, yeah. The plywood manufacturer. Is that what it is? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I see them stacked out there.
What began as a stud mill in the 1950s has evolved into a world-renowned rail-served plant that specializes in concrete forming panels. Here at Savannah, the railroads, along with Highway 1, all find their unique routes to Kamloops. Chaz and KJ would stick to a flight path along the CP, where they'd discover rare lakeshore views.
I think that's our marina somewhere in that, where the green space is, yeah. That's interesting along there. They've got a retaining walls, there's another little short tunnel not too far. So are these the tunnels here? The tunnels, yeah.
And as luck would have it, they'd arrive just in time to spot the outbound local.
Wow, those are pretty picturesque. Looks like the afternoon light's going to be pretty nice there when it swings around this way. Yeah. That's quite a tunnel over there, too. Oh, yeah, I didn't know it was on that side. Just an impressive big rock to go through. I think I see the runway. Yep, see. Kamloops radio says this 75 up a 2 mile now for final for runway
On the tarmac at Kamloops International Airport, Chaz would find Bessie a nice place to rest and refuel before tomorrow's long return flight home. It wasn't long before I arrived at the terminal to pick up the guys. And then we made our way to an essential resupply stop. Finally, we headed for an eagerly awaited day on Kamloops Lake.
Train's coming. Want to hit it?
Although, not before a westbound CP coal drag would stop us just a few feet short. Don't get me wrong, I'm always eager to see any train, especially one in the scenic wonderland of British Columbia. But right then and there, I was solely focused on getting to the dock and launching an all-out effort to redefine railfanning. Get this party started. I'm sure you can operate a boot.
We'll find out together, won't we?
Let's come aboard.
Permission granted.
Charlie Conway, the most interesting bush pilot in the world. Punch it. Yeah. There we go.
When KJ and I hatched this plan, we couldn't have imagined a more perfect day. Now with Chaz at the helm, we just needed to scout the ideal places to chase.
So you got to check out this rock retaining wall here. So cool. You have the man-made stone structure mixed right in with the normal rock, the Mother Nature made, as I like to call it. What a beautiful, beautiful scene. This is almost worth doing in a diorama, just this little section. And we've said that like 100 times. We have 100 dioramas.
Sights weren't too shabby on the CN either. The massive Battle Bluff would be a great spot to attack on the North Shore, but the bridges, bluffs, and tunnels on the south side would be first. Arched, cut stone railroad bridges like these inspire great photos. And a quick dip in the lake, too.
Oh my 400 feet right here. That's what it said. I don't like going there. I like this monster.
Exactly.
Well, there we go.
All right.
See you on the flip side. That wasn't rude.
What's more exhilarating than a swim in the lake? A trio of GEs, no doubt.
Yeah, this is perfect. Just rip in this way and then just whip it around. Okay.
After netting the first shot, Captain Conway would punch it, putting our pontoon perfectly in position for an extended run along the shores of Kamloops Lake. Right in the midst of our first chase, CN sent us a distinct reminder that there would be plenty to see on both lines. Next, the CN line would get our attention after KJ spotted a distant headlight. Our high-powered pontoon was perfect for pacing. It was getting ahead of the heavy haulers that posed a problem.
All right, so what I found out here is, so we can obviously pace them. If we get going like 5 to 10 seconds sooner, then we can pace the engines the whole way.
Okay.
Time to test the theory. Perfect, but only to a point. Without warning, we'd lost all of our momentum and the deep glacial waters below us.
We're getting pretty shallow again.
Thanks to the honed skills of our skipper, we'd escaped shallows that were better suited for wading waterfowl. Lesson learned, lunch served. But when a subtle sound spelled bigger troubles, it was time to head for port, and fast.
That is the sound I heard earlier.
Okay.
Well, we're back a little early. Our captain, Charlie Conway, noticed some bubbles. He heard some bubbles, and we stopped to eat lunch, look over, and sure enough, there's little bubbles coming from the pontoon, so we brought it back to play it safe.
Of course, the tiny leak at the seam would be patched to perfection. Alas, that didn't keep me from lamenting the loss of a colorful CN stack train as we awaited our return to the chase and the slow approach of an afternoon front. You know, it's amazing how quickly the rumble of an idling outboard, coupled with a slew of trains, can make you forget your woes, isn't it?
Railfanning and luxury.
Thank you, Charlie. This is perfect. This kind of chase could go on till every ounce of energy was zapped from your body. Or the lightning from the nearby storm on Charlie's radar does it a bit less gently. Either way, I'd use the surge of energy to help capture our first eastbound CN and our last shot from Kamloops Lake. Captain Conway would turn us back to port just before the showers poured down. We'd arrive in downtown Kamloops just in time to see the sunset and this eastbound coal drag change crews. And with that, we'd call it a great day on Kamloops Lake. To learn more about this fantastic railroading city, pick up the May 2016 issue of Trains magazine. With the dawn of a new day, we'd say goodbye to Chaz and Bessie and make our way back to the States. The scenic route out of Kamloops led us past more regional industries, railroad equipment, and even a local hobby shop stacked with Canadian collectibles. We hopped back on Highway 1 with hopes of finding more trains on our way to the border. Our plans would go up in flame, kind of like the blazing timber that shut down CN's transcontinental main line through the Thompson River Canyon. With traffic at a standstill, we'd make a beeline for the border, where we'd find this BNSF local awaiting our return to the States. With our adventure coming to a close, we snap a few more shots of this smelly local and race for the coast for a fresher finale. Arriving in Blaine, Washington, we'd missed the Amtrak Cascades train by only minutes. But still, this sunset was second to none. What a sunset here in Blaine, Washington. What a great way to cap off the trip. We were hoping for a train around that corner, but that green signal says otherwise. So I think we're gonna call it quits here in a little bit and wrap up this episode of Drew's Trackside Adventures. Now, if I sound solemn and sad, it's because I am. Because we just came from one of the coolest places ever, one of the best trips ever. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time. Although I don't know where my next adventure will lead, you can continue enjoying this brand of railfanning with Charlie's Trackside postcards, only on MR Video Plus.